Senator Hough here, and today I was going to talk to you about civil asset forfeiture. I introduced legislation earlier this session. It's bipartisan legislation. Actually, interestingly enough, it's with myself, one of the most conservative members, Republican, in the Maryland Senate, and I'm introducing with one of the most liberal members, Democrat members in the Senate. It's one of the ideas that yesterday when we had testimony on it, we had groups from the right, groups on the left, groups like Americans for Tax Reform, American Conservative Union on one side, and groups like the ACLU, NAACP, and they all came together to support this piece of legislation. And you may ask, well, why? What does it do? I've never heard of this process before. Well, starting back in 1986, Congress decided that they would pass a law based on this medieval concept that it used to be back in those times that the king could come in and charge an inanimate object with a crime, meaning that the king could then take possession of it. They used it very early on with pirates. So if there was a ship that was going, it was a pirate ship, the king's men could go seize the ship and take the proceeds and take the cargo off and charge that cargo with a crime. Going forward, in 1986, Congress decided in order to combat the drug issues in the cities and such at the time, that they would allow civil asset forfeiture for drugs. Sounds like a good idea, fine idea. The problem is, right now what we have in Maryland, as in many states, is a process where your property, your firearm, your home, your place of business, your car, your cash, can all be charged with a crime and taken by the state and ultimately forfeited ownership, and you yourself have never been charged with a crime or you've been acquitted and found not guilty. So clearly that's a problem there. And so we're trying to come up with a piece of reasonable legislation which will restore private property rights while still allowing the police to seize drugs and guns and money from people that are out there selling poison in our communities. So this is one of the things that we're working through right now. It's very important to me as somebody that cares about the Constitution and limited government that we protect people's private property rights. In my district right now in Middletown, we have a farmer who the federal government came in and seized $38,000 out of his bank account and never charged him with anything. And the duty is on him to try to get the money back. You have to hire an attorney, you have to do this. There's just something un-American about the idea that you can lose your property, lose your Second Amendment rights, whatever it be, without ever being charged or convicted of a crime. So that's what we're working on this session. It's going to be a big task. We had the hearing yesterday, got a lot of good input from both sides on it, and so we're going to try to work out some sort of a compromise on it, but it's important that going forward, at least in my opinion, the compromise recognizes important principles. First being government transparency. We want to know how much the government is taking, what they're taking, why they're taking it, where the people charged. The second thing is setting up a process where innocent people can get their property back. So example, if somebody is selling drugs and they're driving their grandma's car and the title and everything's in the grandma's car, and grandma just happens to have a lughead for a grandson. Well, if that car is seized, we want to set up a process where the innocent owner, grandma, dad, whoever, can come in front of the court and petition to get that property back. And the judge can make a decision, but we set up that. And then finally, we want to deal with this idea that property can be found guilty and the actual individual can be found innocent. Trying to figure out a better process about how we do that and how property is taken in Maryland. So it's a big concept we're working on. Obviously trying to keep mindful of law enforcement and their concerns, but also keeping concerns my ultimate responsibility as your state senator is protecting and upholding your constitutional rights as a Marylander. So until next week, have a great week.